Good evening and welcome everybody who is watching me all over the world. Today we are going to talk about one silent station in OSCE presentation. We were able to dive deeper into the overview of OSCE a couple of hours ago yesterday, and today we are going to dive deeper into one of the skills that a nurse associate or a nurse can also get in their clinical skills. We are going to treat fluid balance today. It is one of the silent stations you are going to get in your OSCE presentation. As per the overview yesterday, we noticed that when we talk of the clinical skill, you are either going to get a silent station or a performing station. I hope you all can hear me loud and clear. Those of you watching live on YouTube, can you hear me loud and clear? Can you hear me loud and clear? Those of you watching me on YouTube, can you hear me loud and clear? Hello? Yeah, okay, perfect. Now let's go on. So, as part of your clinical skills, as you are preparing for OSCE, as part of your clinical skills, you can either get a performing station or a silent station. You can get a performing station or a silent station. When we talk about a performing station, they are the stations where you will talk and act. You will demonstrate whatever you are doing for the assessor to tick the boxes for you. So you'll be talking and acting or demonstrating the actual skill when we talk of a performing station. But when we talk of a silent station, the silent station is basically for those of us who will just sit down and then look on the paper or the marking, the documentation that is attached to the station. You will just be given that paper and you'll be able to just go straight, do the station and go straight and submit it when the time is up. So basically, in all the performance stations, you'll be talking, but silent stations, you are not saying a word to anyone. You just focus on the time and make sure everything you are doing is within the time. So put it at the back of your mind as you prepare for your OSCE. You can either get a performing station or a silent station, all right, as part of your clinical skill. So today we are picking one silent station and we will dive deeper into it. This station is for nurses and nurse associates. Nurses and nurse associates. You will get fluid balance as part of your clinical skills that you would present or you can get during your OSCE. So for nurse associate, the likelihood of you doing it is very high. For nurse associate, the likelihood of you doing it is very high. But for the nurses, you can either get it or not, depending on the condition that you get. Right, now let's get to know what exactly fluid balance is. Let's get to know what exactly fluid balance is. What are we going to expect when we talk about fluid balance? Let's go to the marking criteria. We will go to the marking criteria and then we talk about what to actually expect. So this is the marking criteria for fluid balance. And it says handwriting is clear and legible. So make sure that in the fluid balance chart, your handwriting should be very clear and legible. Since you are not talking to defend whatever you would do, you have to make sure your handwriting is clear and legible. The next thing, you accurately transposes the information onto the fluid balance chart. We will show the fluid balance chart in a minute. Those of you who haven't got a clue where to get them, you can go to nmc.org.uk, search in the search bar OSCE, and then you can download all the supporting documents on their page. All these documents were downloaded from their page straight away. So you can get all the supporting documents that you need on their page. All right. So that's how you're going to go about it. And then as soon as you get the supporting documents, you definitely print it out. You print it out, and then you can use it to do this fluid balance station accurately. The next thing, you are going to calculate fluid intake balance accurately. You are calculating the fluid intake balance accurately. So make sure that whatever intake they project for you in your OSCE, you make sure to copy all of the intake accurately on the fluid balance chart. All right. And then you also calculate and you calculate the fluid output balance accurately as well. You make sure to do that as well. And then you calculate and document the total fluid balance accurately. You denote negative or positive balance accurately. Ensure strike-through errors retain legibility. So basically, if you cancel anything, you need to use the strike-through method. You don't have to just do anything. You don't have to cancel it anyhow. You need to just use the strike-through method to cancel and then proceed to do whatever you are actually meaning to do. And then you have to also make sure to print and sign the name on the chart. So your name and your signature will be at the bottom. We are going to show the chart in a minute. You have to make sure to print and sign your name accurately on the chart. Does it make sense? Those of you on TikTok, please join me on YouTube live stream, Nesobapre. Those of you on TikTok, join me on YouTube live. Is that clear? Are we all okay with the introduction of the fluid balance? That is what the NMC is expecting from you. That is what the NMC is expecting from you to do when it comes to the fluid balance. I see, yes, it is here. Right, those of us on YouTube, is it clear what to expect in the fluid balance station? Yes, perfect. Now, we are going to now show the fluid balance chart. The fluid balance chart. What did they expect us to see on the chart? This is how the fluid balance chart looks like. This is how the fluid balance chart looks like. So as part of your supporting documents, you can have this as part of the chart. All that you need to do, go to the NMC site and download the supporting documents. This is the fluid balance chart you will get during your OSCE. This is the fluid balance chart you get during your OSCE. So you can see here, fluid balance chart, name and date. This name and date is for your patient. The hospital number of your patient will also be here. The likelihood of this chart being filled is high. So you are not going to be the one to put the name and date of the patient on here. You are going to use the time to do the input, the output, and do this bottom bit. So mostly the time for this is not to do the name, date, and hospital number of your patient. It's either printed for you straight away to do. Does it make sense? Before we dive deeper, this station, as at August 2026, is 14 minutes. This station is 14 minutes. So before we dive deeper, you have to know that whatever that we are doing, we are using 14 minutes to do this station. we are using 14 minutes to do this station. All right? So make sure that you write as quick as possible and make sure you don't leave anything undone. So this is how the chart looks like. You see the time here. The time is allocated on your left-hand side. You can see it starts from 8 o'clock. That's 8 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock. So whatever time that will be allocated to the fluid or the input or the output, you will document it against the actual time. You will document it against the actual time. So make sure that if you are doing the input and then you realize that the patient took tea at 8 o'clock, you don't put it against 9 o'clock. You are going to write it against the 8 o'clock. Is that clear? That is how you will do the fluid balance. So you document it accordingly to all the time that you have. Let's talk about the input. In input, you are expecting oral intake, parenteral intake. What do we mean by oral intake? They are the inputs that the patient takes in from the mouth per oral. Everything the patient takes in per oral is going to be documented here. You can see we have 2 boxes. Oral, we have 2 boxes here. If at any point you notice in the fluid balance chart, the scenario that will be given to you, if at any point you notice that there is one particular intake within the same hour, you have to write it in the separate boxes. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You have to make sure that if you are doing the fluid balance documentation, and let's say the scenario says at 8 o'clock, Obapre had hot chocolate. And at 8:45, I took water. You put the hot chocolate meals here and then the water meals here. Do you understand? Are we okay with that? Okay, good. So that is how you do the documentation. You make sure it's against the time. However, if you have 2 documentation, just put it in the separate boxes as you move on. Is that okay? Perfect. Now, another thing you also need to know is in terms of doing the parenteral. When we say parenteral, it is basically the IV medications that you serve for the patient. Whatever you serve for the patient intravenously, or we can get PEG fluids, NG2 feeding. All these things are parenteral fluids, okay? So you are going to document all the meals that you did in that regard. So let's say you set up dextrose 5% for your patient. You just literally have to know how to spread it, of which we are going to dive deeper into. You just know how to spread it within the hours and document it appropriately. All right, that is all what you are going to do in the parenteral. You can see there are 3 boxes, so there's a lot to document if you have something to be done within the same hour. And then we'll dive deeper into how we are going to do the hour total and the total input. We will dive deeper in how we are going to do the hour total and the total input. So basically, this terminology, this format goes with the input. And also, when we go to the output, you are using the same thing. whatever will be given to you, you just document it under the parameter. So if the scenario gave you urine output was, let's say, 50 ml, you just write it under urine. If it's gastric losses, you just write it under that. If it's bowels, if it's drains, you just write it under the parameter. The specific parameter will just take the specific output when it comes to documenting. And always make sure to document according to the hours or the time. Do we understand up to this point? Those of you on TikTok, join me on YouTube Live, Nezobapre. Do we all understand up to this point? Any question up to this point? Any question up to this point? Do we all understand? Yes? Okay, good. So that is how you go about it. That is how we go about it. Right. In documenting on the fluid balance, you are supposed to document using ml. You are using male, but not males. And when I say male, it's ml. ml. Small letter M and capital L. Small letter M and capital L. That is the unit you are going to add to all the things you are documenting on the chart. All the volume of fluids you are documenting on the chart, you are going to use the ml. Please note this. Irrespective, if you are going to be given the scenario in males, you are still not documenting in males. You are documenting in ml. Small letter M and capital L. I've typed it on the chat. Those of you on TikTok, join me on YouTube live stream and you can see the screen I'm sharing so that you learn more. Nezobapre on YouTube. So you are doing ML, all right? Make sure everything you are documenting will have this unit on it. So this unit you will have on all the things you would document. All the volume of fluids you are documenting on the fluid balance chart, make sure that you add the ml. Make sure that you add the ml, all right? That is it. Now let's go into how we are going to put our name down as well here. It says you are printing your name of completing nurse. So make sure you put your full name down here and put your signature as well. Your full name and signature. Make sure to put your full name and signature here. All right. Are we all okay now? Can we proceed? Make sure to put your full name and signature at the bottom. Usually, people will forget because of the tension, because of the pressure of documenting, and because of the exam pressure, you might forget to put your name down. So as soon as the station begins, as soon as the assessor sets the time, you can put your name and your initials or your signature down there before you take your time to go through the scenario, just before you forget. So you can see on the screen the ML, small letter M and then capital L. That is what you are going to write for all the documentation in volumes. Are we okay with the chat up to this point? Are we okay with the chat up to this point? Are we okay with the chat up to this point? Fluid balance, are we okay? Yes? All right. So this aspect, we will go into it to know how best we can deal with the total balance. All right. We'll go into it and then we'll know how best we can deal with it. Let's try and answer if I give a question so that we can proceed as quick as possible. If you have any concerns, let me know. Are we okay up to this point? Can we proceed now? Yes, okay. So we are now going to the scenario. Since we can't share two screens, we are going to share one of the scenario personally that we've generated just to use it as our way of solving the questions. We are going to use one of the scenarios to solve the fluid balance question, all right? So this is one of the scenarios that I've generated. It's not what you will see in the NMC, but it's a similar one. I've generated something like this. So can we all see the screen? I'm going to zoom so that we deal with the oral intake. Can we all see the screen very clearly? Usually, I try for us to practice within the, all right. So the patient's name is Ray Morgan. Hospital number is 0123456, and then the date is today. So the date is 24th of August 2026, if that's the case. Now, we need to document everything on here to the chat. We need to document everything on here to the chat according to the specific time. So just like we've been talking about, against each time, you document it accurately. So those of you who have the fluid balance chart, you can start to write the volumes according to the time. You are not writing the coffee, the juice, and the water. No, you are just dealing with the volume. You don't have to deal with what the oral intake was. You are dealing strictly with the volume. Okay, so make sure to document the volume according to the time. When you get something like 8:40, we know that it's still within 8 o'clock. So you have to document it within the 8 o'clock on the chart. And then if you go to 6:30, you do the same. So you just document it accordingly. How many of us have got our chat with us? Can we just type it in the comment section? Have you got a chat? If you haven't, looking at the chat I projected, you can just draw a line and try your hands on it, how you are documenting this on the fluid balance chart. You can just draw a line on a piece of paper and just do the documentation. So this is how you input the oral intake. This is how you will input the oral intake. Can we try our hands on it? This is how you input the oral intake. Make sure everything is against the time. Make sure everything is against the right time, all right? So coffee will go to 8 o'clock and then that will be on and on. Let me try and project how it will look like on the chat for you. Have we tried our hands-on? Okay, so you can get something like this. When you finish, you will get something like this. So if you see the oral, we have documented everything oral as we projected. We have documented everything oral according to their respective time. So you do that and then you are done with the oral intake. Is that okay with all of us? So 8:40, the patient had coffee. Everything was documented appropriately. So if you project and zoom it, the oral intake, you can see everything was documented with the actual male. Mind you, you are using the ml. So you make sure everything you are documenting on here is in ml. So all the oral intake will go on here, just like we have already demonstrated. Okay, good. So now we are going to go to how we are doing the parenteral fluid. Any question about how to input the oral intake? Any question? Any question on how to input the oral intake? Any question? Those on YouTube, can you please type it in the comment section? Have you got any question? Can we proceed? Yes? If you've got a question, can you type it? We haven't gotten to that yet. We haven't gotten to how you are documenting the results yet. We are just going to step-by-step way on how to document it. So now we have sorted ourselves out with the oral intake. We are not in a hurry. We've sorted ourselves out with the oral intake. All right. So now let's go to how to do the parenteral. Let's go to how to do the parenteral. In the parenteral intake, you will get the scenario just like we talked about. You will get the scenario and the scenario will give you the parenteral intake as part of the things you will do. So let's share our parenteral intake for this scenario. So this is the parenteral intake. it says you are going to give intravenous fluids. So you have dextrose, 5%, 500 ml. The start time is 10 o'clock and the end time is 14 o'clock. And you also have plasmalite, which has a start time of 15 o'clock and end time of 20 o'clock. This is what has been given to you in your scenario. Now we need to do it step by step. Let's first pick the dextrose 5%, 500 ml. How do we go about spreading this in the chart? How do we go about spreading this in the chart? So you can see that it's giving you the start time. So that is the first thing you need to put at the back of your mind. You have been given the start time and it's projected to finish at 14 o'clock. Now you need to do some calculations. How many hours is it going to take you from 10 o'clock to 14 o'clock? How many hours do you have between 10 o'clock to 14 o'clock? Yes, let's type it in the comment section. How many hours do you have between the 10 o'clock to the 14 o'clock? You are supposed to serve dextrose 5% to the patient. How many hours do you have between 10 o'clock to 14 o'clock? Yes, let's type our answers in the comment section. Let's type our answers in the comment section. How many hours do you have between 10 o'clock to 14 o'clock? Yes, I can see 6, I can see 4 hours. So yes, let's type. How many hours is between 10 o'clock to 14 o'clock? Okay, I can see a couple of 4 hours. All right. So let's do it together. So we have 10 o'clock, isn't it? Right. So now it's 10 o'clock. But when it's 11 o'clock, that's 1 hour. When you get to 12 o'clock, that's 2 hours. When you get to 13 o'clock, that's 3 hours. And then when you get to 14 o'clock, that's 4 hours. That's how you calculate it. So 10 o'clock is the start time, but you are calculating the hours in between to get to 14 o'clock. So you make sure that, okay, if it's 10 o'clock, fine, but from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, that will be 1 hour. 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock, that will be 2 hours. 12 o'clock to 13 o'clock, that will be 3 hours. And then you have the 13 o'clock to 14 o'clock, making it 4 hours. Does it make sense? So you find the hours between the start time and the end time, and you divide it by the meals. You find the hours between the start time and the end time, and you divide it by the meal. So now you can see that the volume of fluid for the dextrose, the volume is 500 ml. Now we found the difference between the 10 o'clock and the 14 o'clock, which is 4 hours. So now you have to divide 4 by the 500. So you divide the hours by the volume. What will be the answer? Divide the hours by the volume. What will be the answer? If you divide the hours by the volume, what will be the answer? Yes. Good. 125 ml. I see 125 ml. Well done. Yes. What will be the answer? What is 500 divided by 4? What will be the answer? For those on YouTube here. Okay, so 125 mil. Good, 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 good. So it means that you are now going to spread 125 mil within the time that was given to you. Since it's all in time and you cannot document 500 mil boldly on the chart, what you have to do is to spread this 125 ml across. So now we know we are giving it 4 hours. So if we go to the chart, we will now have to project the documentation from 10 o'clock, which is the start time. You project the documentation from 10 o'clock, which is the start time. So let's quickly do that. Let's quickly do that. You start projecting it from the 10 o'clock, which is the start time. So let's go to the chart. If we go to the chart, we now trace 10 o'clock from parental here, and then you start to document 125 ml, 125 ml, 125 ml. Now the question is, are you writing up to 14 o'clock, or you are writing up to 13 o'clock? That's my question to you all. Are you writing, how many hours are you going to spread it on the chart? You will start from the start time. Let's get that fixed first. The start time is 10 o'clock. Let's start from 10 o'clock. The start time is 10 o'clock. Someone said you are writing up to 14 o'clock. So let's note this trick. Okay, I can see a comment here. You are writing up to 13 o'clock. Let's see this trick. This 500 mil is going to be documented in 4 hours on the chart. Put this at the back of your mind. It is going to be documented in 4 hours on the chart. 4 hours from 10 o'clock. Now let's go to the chart. You can see that 10 o'clock, you first put the first one, which is the first hour. 11 o'clock, you put the next one. 12 o'clock, you put the next one. And then 13 o'clock, you put the last one. This will indicate the 4 hours that you have given this infusion. Now, the reason why they have projected it to 14 o'clock is because we are going to learn this reason very swiftly. It's very simple. So just like you see, you are starting from 10 o'clock and you will end at 13 o'clock. The reason being that at 10 o'clock, all right, let's do this together. At 10 o'clock, the infusion that you will set, which is 125 ml, is going to complete at 11 o'clock. So if you start from 10 o'clock, you will finish at 11 o'clock. And then that 11 o'clock infusion, which is another 125 ml that you will set, you will run it and it's going to finish at 12 o'clock. And then at 12 o'clock, you will set another 125 ml, which will finish at 13 o'clock. And then what you will set at 13 o'clock will finish at 14 o'clock. Hence why on the chart, we can see that the end time is 14 o'clock. Do we understand? So the infusion is spread but the infusion you set at 13 o'clock is not going to finish at 13 o'clock. It's not like you run it as quick and then it's going to finish within seconds. No, you are running that 125 ml within the hour. So it means by 14 o'clock, that infusion would have been finished. That is why you have it as the start time being 10 o'clock and the end time being 14 o'clock. Do you understand up to this point? Do you understand up to this point? Any question? Are we all clear up to this point? Can we proceed? Any question? Do we all understand up to this point? That is the first clue you need to know on how you are documenting on the chat. That is the first clue. In other terms, some people would also start documenting the 125 mil from 11 o'clock and they will end at 14 o'clock. But that trick, we will not confuse ourselves with that. Let's just stick to the 10 o'clock and finishing at 13 o'clock. However, you can still start writing the 125 mil on the chart. You can still start writing that from 11 o'clock on the chart. And then the last 125 mil will be on 14 o'clock. You will not be marked down if you do that. Any question up to this point? So that is how you would deal with the parenteral fluids. Now let's do the plasma light together. Let's do the plasma light. Let's do the plasma light. So that one is also 125 mil. Let's do the plasma light. Any question? Any question, please? Any question, please? Those of us on TikTok, join my live stream on YouTube, Nesoba, pray quickly, so that you can see the screen I'm projecting and you can ask all your questions, all right? No question, perfect. Now let's do the plasma light. With a trick that we've learned for the dextrose 5%, how many ml of plasma light are we going to deal with? Now let's learn quick. So the plasma light is also 500 ml. The plasma light is also 500 ml. And the start time is 1500 and the end time is 2000. So how many mils of plasma light are we going to start to document? With the trick that we use for the dextrose, how many mils of plasma light are we going to document from the start time, which is 1500? How many mil? Yes, quickly, let's do the calculation. Right, I've got, okay, who else? Let's do the calculation quickly. How are we going to deal with the plasma light? Okay, good. Who else? Good. Okay, good. So it means learning has taken place. With the trick that we learned from the dextrose, we are going to use the same trick for the plasma light. Perfect. So now, just a quick glance for those who just joined. So you find the difference between the start time and the end time. So now in this case is how many hours? In this case, how many hours from the 1500 to the 2000? The 15 o'clock to the 20 o'clock. How many hours was that? Yes. 5 hours, perfect. 5 hours, perfect. 5 hours, good. Good, good, good. Perfect. So you divided 5 by the 500 and then you got 100 ml. Perfect. So 500 is splitted now. So you are going to get 100 ml and you start charting it from the 1500 to what time? You start to chart from 1500 to what time? You start to chart from 1500 to what time? So we start from here, 1500, we write 100 mil. To what time? To 19 o'clock. Perfect. To 19 o'clock. Perfect. Perfect. Well done, everybody. So that one is done now. That is done now. Good. So you can either choose to write 16 to 20 o'clock or 15 to 19 o'clock. Okay. Any question up to this point? Can we proceed quickly? Perfect. Well done, everybody. Now let's go to how we would do the hour total. Let's go to how we will do the hour total. When we talk of the hour total, you are just adding whatever is within the hour and you put it down. So let's say at 8 o'clock, you have 100 mil. There is no parentra. It means that the hour total will be 100 mil. If at 9 o'clock, the oral, you documented 150 mil, and then you have another something written for the parentra, which is, let's say, 100 mil, it means at 9 o'clock, the hour total will be 150 plus the 100 mil on parentra to get what? 250 mil in the hour total. Is that okay? Does it make sense to all of us? So you add across like that and you document every hour what you get in the hour total. You add like that. So let's do that. Okay, there's a question here. It says that, please, why do we divide the volume of parental and not just write it just like the oral? You know the volume is big. You cannot just write the volume because you will not set 500 mils of fluid on your patient. You cannot set 500 mils of fluid on your patient for 1 hour. You won't do that, will you? So as part of your clinical practice, you need to set the flow rate of the infusion and spread it within a certain period of time. You cannot just do it anyhow. All right? So that is why we find a way to get the appropriate volume for each hour and then spread it to make sure that we have got the chance to do, not to give the patient overdose, basically. So that is why we do calculate and spread it across. Yeah? Perfect. Thank you. So the hour total again, I'm going to explain again how to check the hour total. You add, let me stop sharing this and show you. You add across within the hour what you will get for each hour. You will add across within the hour what you are going to get each hour and make sure it is against each time accordingly. So that is how you do the hour total. I'm going to share the screen quick. Just bear with me 1 second. So you will do it this way. Okay, so if we look on this chart, the oral intake at 8 o'clock is 150 ml. So it means within this hour, since there is nothing here, you are documenting our total as 150 ml. And then if there is nothing in the next hour, you just leave it blank. If you move on to 10 o'clock, you see at 10 o'clock, you have 125 ml written for parenteral. There's nothing else in here, so it means the hour total is going to be 125 ml. Now let's move on to 11 o'clock. If we move on to 11 o'clock, the hour total will be addition of everything you see on that line. So oral, you have 200 ml, and then under parenteral, you have 125 ml. It means that you will add this 200 to 125 to get 325 ml, which will be the hour total for 11 o'clock. So you do that as you are going on. When it comes to 12 o'clock, 150 plus this will give you the 275. Do you understand? Do you all understand how to do the hour total? So make sure to complete the hour total to the last bit. If there is nothing written down, don't find yourself in any stress. Like 9 o'clock, there was nothing there, so you leave it blank. Okay? If there is nothing written for that particular hour, you just leave it blank. Do we understand? Do we all understand? Please, let's type it in the comment section. Any question? Do we understand up to this point? So you document the hour total. Yes? Okay, thank you. You document the hour total across like that. And make sure everything is written down until you get to the last hour. All right? Sometimes you might not have any value for the last hour, which is fine. If it ends at 2 o'clock, that's fine. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to write everything to the last hour. You are writing as per what you have in your scenario, okay? Can we proceed? Any question? Can we proceed? Those of us on YouTube, can we proceed? Any question? Okay. Okay, we can proceed. All right, now, after doing the hour total, we are now going to learn how to do the total input. The total input. So, in calculating for the total input, you have to do it in this order. The first total input that you will put here will automatically be the first hour total. but the subsequent ones will change. The first total input you will put here will automatically be the first hour total. So whatever you got for the hour total in the first hour, which is 8 o'clock, you would then write the same thing in the total input as it is. So we got 150 ml, and then we will get the same thing for the total input. Those of us who are on TikTok, join my YouTube live stream, Nesoba Pray, and then you will see the screen I'm sharing. Okay, join my YouTube live, and you will see the screen I'm sharing. Quickly, let's come to YouTube and see the screen. Yeah, so in doing the total input, you now have to proceed to the next total input. There's nothing here for 9 o'clock. It means you will leave it blank. It means you will leave it blank. Now let's get to 10 o'clock, total input. How do we document total input for 10 o'clock? How do we document total input for 10 o'clock? In documenting the current total input, which is the current hour that you are on, you have to add the previous total input to the current hour total to get the current total input. Let me take it again. In order to get the total input, just like we see on the chart, in order to get the total input for 10 o'clock, you will add the total input of the previous hour. In this sense, we can see that 9 o'clock there was nothing there, but 8 o'clock there was 150 ml. So you will add the ml or the volume in the total input of the previous hour to your current hour total to get your total input. So in this sense, at 8 o'clock, the total input was 150 ml, and then the hour total at 10 o'clock is 125 ml. So it means I'm going to add 150 to 125, then I will get the total input for 10 o'clock, making it 275 ml. Do you understand? Do you understand how to check the total input moving forward? Yes? Yes? Do we understand how to check the total input? Good. Good. So you would do it subsequently, yeah? So now let's go to 11 o'clock. At 11, our total was 325 ml. It means that we have to add the total input from the previous value to the current hour total, which is 325, to get our current total input. So you add 275 ml to 325 ml to get 600 ml. That will be your current total input. Any question? So do the calculation until you get to the last end. Do the calculation until you get to the last end. So be adding the previous total input to the current hour total to get your current total input. Just be adding it like that until you get to the last section. So this one, you can see the last one, the previous hour total, the previous total input was 2,250. You will add it to the 250 mil, then you get 2,500 mil as your last total input. That is how you do the total input. Any question up to this point? Any question up to this point? Do we all understand? Do we all understand? Do we all understand, or have we got any question or concerns up to this point? Good. We understand. Yes, yes, yes. Good. 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 Positive. Perfect. Now, let's move on to the output. Let's move on to the output. Now we've managed to finish documenting everything on the total input. We've managed to finish everything on the total input. Now let's move on to the output. Just like we've done in the documentation of the input, you are going to do same for the output. So let's assume this is your output. This is your output. So all that you would do, just document according to the time. Just document according to the time. So you see 10 o'clock urine output is 200 ml. And then you document accordingly. Now, let me give you this trick. You are not supposed to write anything other than volume of fluid on the fluid balance chart. You are not supposed to document anything other than the volume of fluid on the fluid balance chart. However, you can see that gastric, it says yes. The question here is yes a volume? Is yes a volume? Yes. Let's answer the question. Is yes a volume? Is yes a volume? How would you input yes as part of a volume? Is yes a volume? No. Okay, good. So it is just there to confuse you. You are paying attention to the volume of fluids that is documented on the chart. So yes is not a volume. You will not put anything down for the gastric at 10 o'clock for seeing the yes. You are not putting anything down because you've seen yes. So make sure to not be confused, all right? Just skip and do the documentation according to the respective time. So 13:45, it means it will go on the 13 o'clock. Whenever you see anything, you just focus on the hour. So the minutes will not count. The hour is going to be counted. So 10 o'clock, 13 o'clock will be 13, the 13:45 will be under the 13 o'clock and respectively. All right. Are we all okay? So let's do that on the chart. Make sure to document everything on the output in the scenario according to the specific output. Please don't go and write urine output 200 ml and you write it under drains. In as much as you will get the same hour total, your documentation will be wrong. In as much as you will get the same hour total, your documentation will be wrong. So it means you will fail the station. You have to just write it accordingly, respectively, on the chart. Is that okay? So just like that, you document it. Now let's go to the hour total again. In this sense, we are doing for the output. How do we document on the output? We are using the same technique we did for the input. We are using the same technique we did for the input. nothing changes. You are using the same technique. Nothing is going to change. You are using the same technique to do the hour total and then the total output as well. So output, urine was 10 o'clock, 200 mil. Hour total is 200 mil. So that will be the first total output. And then when you finish doing all the hour total, you will add the previous total output to the current hour total to get your current total output. So you do that until you get to the last value. Those of you who just joined, access to the supporting documents is on the NMC website. Go to nmc.org.uk. You can search OSCE and then see the supporting documents under your field. So this is for nurses and nurse associates. You will see supporting documents and then you download it. Go and print the supporting documents. You will have access to this fluid balance chart, and then you can now solve the question. You can come back to this live stream and watch and solve the question for yourself looking on the screen, all right? So we do the same trick for the hour total and the total output. Yeah? Is that clear with everybody? Good. Is it clear with everyone? So now we are going to the total balance. We are going to the total balance. In order to get the total balance, you are going to subtract the input from the output. When we say that, it's confusing for some people because I don't know how the subtraction and everything works with what you understand. So first thing, if you are writing it, it's going to be input. If you are writing it, yeah? If you write it, it's going to be input minus output. But if you are saying it, you are subtracting the output from the input, which is quite tricky. So this is how you do the total balance. The input of the patient is 2,500. If you look on the screen, that is the formula. The input of the patient is 2,500. And then the output is 2,650, all right? Since this is the total input that you got for the last section, it means that that is the total input for all the volume of input you have. And then this is the total output for all the volume of output you have. So the formula is what you see on the screen. The input minus the output, if you are writing it. The input minus the output. But if you are saying it, you subtract output from the input. So that is it. Do you understand? So the formula is what you see there. In order to check the total balance, the formula is what you see there. The total balance is equal to input minus the output when you are writing it. In order to check the total balance, is input minus the output. Yeah? Do we understand? So what will be the subtraction? What will be the total balance? What will be the total balance? What will be the total balance? Yes. Let's type our answers in the comment section. This is the formula, as you can see on the screen. Let's type our answers in the comment section. What will be the total balance? Yes, quickly. What will be our total balance? What will be our total balance? Yes. Let's type our answers in the comment section. What will be the total balance? We have the input and then the output. So you can see that the last input is 2,500 ml, and the last output, the total output, was 2,650. Well done. So I've got 150 ml. Anybody with a different answer? Anybody with a different answer? Or do we all have the same answer? Okay. So we have minus 150 ml. You are subtracting 2,500, which is 2,500 minus 2,650. Okay, so it's 150 ml, but it's negative. It's 150 ml, but it's negative. So this is how you're going to do the documentation. In the total balance section, you just put the value you got without any sign. But you will put the sign here underneath here. So if it's positive, you write positive. If it's negative, you write negative. In this context, we know that subtracting the bigger number from the smaller number, you will get negative. So it means you will get minus 150 ml as your total balance. But please don't write minus 150 ml in the total balance section. You will be marked down. Please don't write 150 ml in the total balance section. You are going to write, you are not going to add the sign to it, sorry. You are not adding the sign to it. You are just writing the value you got. So if it's 200 ml, you got, write 200 ml. If it's 150, whether negative or positive, you are not writing the actual sign in the total balance section. However, you will put the actual sign in the negative or positive section. So this is how you will see the fluid balance chart in your OSCE. This is how you will see the fluid balance chart in your OSCE. Everything is documented vividly. So just like you see, this is a complete fluid balance chart with all the values, the sign, and the total balance, and then the negative or positive sign is there. So basically, this is what you would have to see, the assessor is expecting to see on your chart. Very neatly done. Very neatly done. You take your time to fill the volumes accordingly, respectively to the timings and everything. You will get this neatly done. This is how you go about fluid balance station. It is a silent station. Nurses and the nurse associate, you will get this station as part of your OSCE. So make sure you equip yourself in how to do this. Everything is neatly done on this, as you can see. Everything is neatly done on this. So make sure that you don't make any errors. If you make any error, the fluid balance chart will be given there is another chart that can be given to you. However, you don't want to make any mistake. Please, does it mean, question? Please, does it mean you would have to subtract the input total from the, yes, that's the formula. That's the formula. So in order to get your total balance, you are subtracting the last total. So the last one, in order to get your total balance, you are subtracting the last total input. So let me put this last total input from the last total output. This is the formula, if that makes sense, better than before. So total balance, last total input and last total output. And then you get 150 ml as your total balance. And if it's negative, you put it there. So this is how neatly it's supposed to be done. Any question? Any question? Any question? Any question about the fluid balance? Any question about the fluid balance? Any question about the fluid balance? Any question? Please, let's type our questions in the comment section in the next 1 minute. Then we will bring this live to an end. We will bring this live to an end if there are no questions. Any question? Have we all understood fluid balance now? Has learning taken place? Do we all understand fluid balance? If we get the chart right now, are you going to be able to do the fluid balance station without any hesitation? Will you be able to do the fluid balance station without any hesitation? Yes. Will you be able to do the fluid balance station without any hesitation? Yes, let's type it in the comment section. Will you be able to do the fluid balance station without any hesitation? Do we understand? If we don't, what are your questions? Quickly, let's answer them and then we can end the live stream. Any question? Right, so those of you who joined us late, go back. I will post a live stream on my YouTube page, Nurse Obapre. subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like these videos and this stream, and leave a comment if possible. But if you definitely have a question, type it under the live stream if you watch the video, and then I'll reply to you. All right, question. Samuel, what's your question? What's your question, please? Okay, so this live stream is recorded just like yesterday's. If you go to my YouTube page, Nesobapre, just go to the live, you will see the recorded version, and you take your time to watch the video, and then you'll definitely be able to complete the fluid balance station and understand it better. If you didn't join earlier, that will be the best bet for you. Just take your time. Okay, good question. Are we giving calculators on the exam day? Yes, you are. During your OSCE, you'll be given calculators to use if you get fluid balance as part of the stations. Any question? Any question? Right. Do we all understand fluid balance now? Those of us who joined from the beginning, do we all understand fluid balance? Do we all understand? If you don't, or you joined in the middle of the stream, just make sure, go back and watch the stream if it's posted. Subscribe to the channel and get notified whenever I come on board. And then I will also reply to your comments under every video. So make sure if you have a question under every section that we do, just type the question under each under the comment section. Michael, what's your question? What's your question? In case the parental section, they provide 2 IV medication, what should you do? They provide, like what we did 2 IV medication. So you just do it like that, follow suit, and that's it. You just do, you are not going to be given one. You can get any, you can get 2 or more than one, so you just deal with it. If it's the timing, you allocate the timing. There's a section, I think there are 3 boxes in the fluid balance chart. There are 3 boxes in the parental section. So if the timings are going to be the same, you just make sure to write it separately. Yes, you can. You provide every IV fluid in a separate section if they are covering the same time frame. All right. Any question? Right, this is the end of Fluid Balance Station. Thank you very much for joining this live stream. Make sure to leave a few likes under the live stream and also comment as possible if you have any concerns or any question when you rewatch this live stream. It's on my YouTube page, Nurse Obapre. In the next couple of days, if I come on live, you'll be able to get notified if you have your notification button on for me. All right. So just make sure to subscribe to the channel, switch on the notification button, and then we can now proceed to getting notified whenever I come on live. I'll be picking stations by stations depending on the demands, and then we'll dive deeper into how best we can do it. So let's now end this live stream. Thank you, and I appreciate you all for your time. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening.